guys. My name is Monare too, and I'm a third-year medical student at the University of the Witwatersrand. I got in 2020 through the GEMP program. Getting into the program, I've always wanted to do medicine since I was in high school, and because I was an international student from Lesotho, where there's no medical school, I couldn't straight away after finishing high school go into medicine, so I had to apply for a BSc in the National University of Lesotho in order to have a first degree so that I can get into a program in SA. So in 2008, after I finished my high school, I applied to the National University of Lesotho and got into a BSc program in 2009. So because of the differences in academic years, the academic year in the National University of Lesotho starts in August and ends in May. So I had 6 months of doing nothing at home until August, when our program started, my first year started. So in 2009 August, I started my first year, and during that first year we did a general first year where you do biology, chemistry, physics, maths, which is algebra and calculus, and then you also do an English course, English writing and language. And then in 2010, when I went into my second year, I applied to do a specialized program which is called chemical technology, which is a 4.5-year program. So from then I did the BSc in chemical technology for the 4.5 years, and in 2014, when I was done with the degree, I applied to do medicine at Wits. But then I didn't know about the whole WAPT test and everything, so I wasn't prepared to write the WAPT then, and I hadn't done any of the subject in my undergraduate course. So I didn't pitch up to write. And then I also applied in 2014 to do a master's degree in molecular and cell biology at Wits, which I got into, and I did that for 2 years and finished the master's, and then upgraded the master's into a PhD in 2016. And also in 2016, I also applied again to get into medicine in 2017, I applied to get into medicine so that for the 2018 program, and I went on to write the GEMP test, but I didn't do well for that test in 2017 because I wasn't well prepared. I only prepared for like 2 weeks for the course, and I hadn't done those courses again. I had only done molecular medicine because it was part of my postgraduate training, and then so I didn't do very well in that test. And then so during that time when I was doing my WAPT test, in 2017, I was already a PhD student, so I was doing PhD, and I wanted to get into medicine in 2018. But then I didn't get in because I didn't do well in the WAPT test. And then in 2018, I again applied to medicine. And I was again invited to write the WAPT test, and this was my final year of PhD. So, and then I got invited to write the WAPT test, and then so then that year I was well prepared to write. I took off like 6 weeks from my PhD in order to prepare for the test, and during that time it was me having to learn all of the second year physiology and anatomy, which I have never done before in my life. And then I wrote the WAPT test and I passed, but I didn't get in because I had upgraded my master's into a PhD, so I didn't have a Wits degree by then, so they didn't consider me into they didn't accept my undergraduate degree marks, which I think was like 72%. I think they considered to be international, and I think for that year the cut-off for international students, or not international students, but for external students from Wits was 80%. I'm not sure. So I went on to finish my PhD, and in 2009 I was accepted as a postdoctoral fellow at Wits. So I worked for that whole year while I again applied to get into medicine. And this time I had all the marks that were needed to get into medicine. But then again, because I was still an international student by then, I had to also be considered under the international fraction, even though I was already a vetsy. And my marks were like 77 by then, because I got 5 points for having a PhD and for being a vetsy. So I had like a 77, 2 points for being a vetsy, and 3 points for having a PhD, I think, something like that. So then my overall marks were 77 then, which was way above the cutoff for 2019, I think. And so, but then because I was still an international student, I was from Lesotho. I'm from Lesotho, so they had to. I had to compete to other people from other countries in the SADC region, which do not have medical school, that is Lesotho and Eswatini. And so I don't know how many other students are from there. And then I got into the program for this year. So far, my journey, GEMP has been wonderful. It's a lot of work, very, very much. You have to stay disciplined in your work. And so yeah, so for my preparation for the WAPT, it wasn't easy, because I was doing a PhD by then, and I was at the final stage of my PhD where I was writing up. So I had to have a very understanding supervisor in order for me to be able to take off all that time. And yeah, and now having to study courses that I had never done before and study them on my own. It wasn't easy, but I actually managed to do it. And yeah, I remember on examination day, because it was my second time, I was quite relaxed because I felt like I had prepared well enough, and I think when I'm well prepared, I kind of trust in my skills that I will do everything, I will do very well. And then I also had been a part of this other group. I think it was aimed for WAPT or something. I can't remember what the name was. It was a WhatsApp group, I think. Yeah. And I think it was run by Simon, who is a fifth-year medical student, the group, and they put questions in the group to kind of help us study. And they also had a mock exam, which I found to help a lot, because I actually didn't do very well in that mock exam, but it actually helped me see where I was lacking and where I needed to tighten my studies and where I needed to focus on. I think the biggest thing that you need to remember with the WAPT is it's only about 50 questions per section. So 50 questions in molecular medicine, 50 questions in physiology, 50 questions in anatomy. And you need to get through all of the material that all of the objectives that you were asked to study. But don't stress if you don't necessarily understand something too much, because the chances of that coming up in the question paper are very slim. There are just 50 questions out of maybe 15 topics in molecular medicine, in anatomy and physiology. But I would advise that you actually study all of your molecular medicine and make sure that you understand, because I remember in our year, it felt like most of the questions in the molecular medicine paper were mostly applications. So you need to understand all your basics and then go on and apply them to those questions when you're answering them. But then again, it wasn't too bad. I actually thought I didn't do very well in the molecular medicine, even though it was literally my postgraduate degree, like my field of study in my postgraduate degree. It was very disheartening to think that I didn't do well in something that I was actually specializing in, but apparently I did very well in that. And then after the WAPT exam, I think it took 2 to 3 weeks before we got the results. And last year, I only got my admissions on the 22nd of December, I think. No, it wasn't the 22nd, it was the 17th of December. And I was quite happy because it was like all of my dreams coming true. I remember it was around 7 in the evening when I went to check my self-service on the self-service portal and found out that an offer had been made, which was I was so happy, and I was with my parents then, so I kind of screamed and cried, which is what I do most of the time when I'm happy. And I got to meet quite a number of very interesting people, quite awesome people, and I have this opportunity to live out my dreams. So yes, yeah, it's quite worth it. So thank you.
Our greatest glory is never in falling, but in rising every time we fall. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel to get more videos like these. Thank you to the new subscribers, very much appreciated.